Right. Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon, whichever the case. All right. Pop up our main one here. We're now live. Also got us running over on Twitch, I think. Twitch is complaining about bitrate. The bitrate's too high for Twitch. Wah wah. Okay, cool. I also have us a new camera today. This is the ramp cam. Shows a nice wide angle of the ramp, as well as the, I guess the east side of the race course. We also have some guests going to be coming over. Andrew Finley is going to be doing some race commentary for us for either the bronze or the silver race. We're going to see if we can get some other people out here as well. Now we do have our times from yesterday's races as well. So we had, obviously Andy won that one. Slightly faster, I believe, than his qualifying time. But strangely, Tom was so much slower. Almost, 10 miles an hour slower. So we're going to see if he's just sandbagging or if he's a worry. No, welcome back in, Sean Pomeroy. Over on Twitch. I actually have both chats open, so I'll try and keep an eye on both of them. I also did put together a nice little video last night, well, a couple nights ago. Got it fully rendered. So let's go check that out. So this is Las Cruces, the race course. It starts off with all the planes coming down the ramp, down the chute, just as they would in other races. And so that they aim basically for the second pylon before they start turning in. Back down past pylon 3, it's a fairly straight shot along the back side of the race course. There's not a whole lot going on out there. There's not, there's no real main elevation changes on the course. So they are effectively pretty much just a straight shot down the back side of the course. Now, where it gets interesting is around kind of pylon 5 and 6 here, and you'll see it turns into a big sweeping turn. So instead of being relatively tight turns, it's a really, really wide turn. We'll see that at the end here, where you can see the whole course layout. And as I said, there's not a whole lot out here, which is very nice because that means we're not going to get encroached on by property development, at least not for the foreseeable future. So with nothing out there, don't have to worry about anything getting in the way. And then back down, all the way around pylon 7, straight down the home straightaway, which is kind of where you can almost call it the Valley of Speed is here at Las Cruces, is really kind of the home stretch, which gives the home crowd a much better view of the high speeds, and then across the line, across the taxiway. So it's a very distinct start-finish line in this one. And that's the long course. Now there is also a medium course, and you can see it being drawn out there right now. And that's effectively the same course, just with some of the outer pylons being brought a little bit further in. There is also an even shorter course, which we're not using this year, but in other years, there's the possibility that they use it. So that would be the Las Cruces racetrack. Of course. Yeah. Sean Possible, that's right. Got a little bit of wind here again today. Shouldn't be too terribly bad. See if I can turn up some of my mics here. That might be a little bit better for you. A little bit better. Test, test. That's alright. I'll bring it down a little bit. That should be alright. Cool. Now, I did see the pylon judges head out around the pylons. Right now, they're actually working an issue. There's somebody, some random spectator or random person, they don't quite know what. They're hanging around on the back side of the course somewhere. Didn't quite pick up exactly where they are, but they're, you know, within the safe zone. So they're trying to track down where that person is and get them to go away. You do have your certified service elephant. Good morning, Baz. Welcome back in. Should probably turn one of these cameras around so you guys can see the pits out here where we've got all the other planes getting ready. Not sure if my microphone will be that long. Give you a pit cam for right now. Now let's go check our silver numbers. So Thomas has been posting the speeds. Does this mean you have a split personality? Yes, yes, very much so. So over sport class we've got. So we were asking yesterday. We noticed Kevin Eldridge got all the way up. He started off in bronze, worked his way up. You know, blew the doors off in bronze. And then in silver, he worked so hard, got all the way up there. He's in third place. Now, third place is right on the bubble. That's where you can move up into gold. Except, he turns out he cut a pylon. So, bumped him down to fourth place. And in fourth place, unfortunately, that meant he would comment like he would a horse race. I'll try to. We actually have some pilots lined up today that are going to come out and say hi. So yeah, that's what happened with Kevin Eldridge yesterday. So he will be fighting to get up into gold today. If he does, so he'll be competing in silver for sure. And if he is able to get up into the top three spots, he'll be able to move up into gold for this afternoon's race. Yeah, it's not all the planes are out here on the pits yet. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn the camera a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys the staging area, which is just a little off to the left. And let's see if I can move this around so it gives me a little bit more breathing room with my stuff. That's a little bit better. Let's see what we're pointing at. Don't like that it's pointing at the sun, but I think we'll be alright. So you can see over there, all the planes are getting all lined up for the race now. For the bronze race, which will be getting started here probably in the next few minutes. We'll see those planes getting started up any moment now. Pilots are all getting in the planes. Wonderful. How far it is the horse race? Oh, I just got that Sean too. Oh, God. So over here in our bronze, I don't actually have the pairings for the finals, but this was the standings for the bronze before. Obviously, these have changed a little bit. We have a Aquila here. We got 23. You know what? I'm just gonna go and try to put this. That should do. Just setting up the numbers here. That's 49. What does Fantasy Island and Pam Anderson have in common? I do not know. Hello, hello. Welcome. I'll give you that. And you want to say something to the mic?
Check.
There we go. All right, guys. So we have with us Andrew Finley, who is currently in first place. So do you think Tom's going to get you?
We got Tom fired up last night. He's going to put some good gas in there, and he was adding a little ADI to his hot cylinders. So we're going to see if he can push it up today, and we'll have a good race.
Very nice. Very cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But what an awesome day. Like, the weather's perfect today. The winds are a little calmer than they were the last couple days, so we're excited for that, and excited to see this first bronze heat go out and tear it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So normally you guys are running like almost 400 in Reno. So why are you guys going 300? Just keeping the plane together?
It's the old Derek Greenemeyer saying, second place sets the pace. So just kind of cruising right now. So yeah, I didn't run full power yesterday, but just out and having fun, getting this initial air race off the ground, showing that we can race anywhere. As we build this out, hopefully more venues get built out, and we're excited to see what can happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So you guys are definitely looking for other venues as well, eh?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a ton of the last year we had there. We were growing. I think our peak membership in sport class, we were up to 70 airplanes we could have brought at one point. We were always limited to 36, and we're excited to see what else we can do. I think there's a huge community out there that wants to come race and didn't have the opportunity always. So really, we're going to reach out. The RV community is amazing. There's so many amazing builders, craftsmen. And the guys that want to come race, like, now they have the opportunity to come do that. You don't have to have a fire-breathing, nitrous-powered engine. Like some of the best racing out there is the bronze and medallion classes. The planes are a lot closer. It's like NASCAR. The reason NASCAR is popular, it's close, tight racing.
Yeah.
And the battles Jeff and I had going full tilt were incredible. But there's always races within races.
Yeah, absolutely. I only noticed there's only one RV here, I think, today.
Yeah, we got a F1 rocket. Chris McMillan's flying his F1 rocket, and Bob Mills got his Rocket 6. So yeah, a couple RV builds here.
I think there's an RV8.
Yep, well. And then Skylar Piper's back there. He's got his stock RV8. He's ran nitrous before, but he's just running it stock this weekend. And he got the backwards airplane with the long easy. Sean's flying Joe's long easy.
That's one of my favorite airplanes because it's just so.
Oh yeah, but so it's so smooth, and it looks great flying out there.
What kind of engine did he put in that? Did he leave the Rutan built them for the 320s, right?
Yeah, I think it started out as a 320, and after the AirVenture Cup, Joe raced it at the AirVenture Cup, and they wanted to add a little bit more power to it. So Joe's also building a Barracuda, not a Barracuda, a Defiant. And so in his Defiant engine, he had a high compression 360, and so they ended up taking one of the engines off of that Defiant and put it on the long easy to come out here and try to go a little faster.
The Defiant, that's another Rutan design, isn't it?
It is, yep. Yeah, the Defiant's kind of a push-pull version of that and has a little more seats.
Yeah, those are cool airplanes. I saw a bunch of those in Oshkosh this year.
Yeah, when I had the kids at Oshkosh this year, we were checking out the Boomerang, and when we got here and they saw Sean's long easy, like, Dad, is the Boomerang going to be here? So, stuff like that, we got to get those guys to get Zach to bring that thing out here and have all kinds of cool airplanes flying out here and see what we can do.
Yeah. Which one was the Catbird? Is the one that?
Zach's got the Catbird. Yeah,
that's a cool plane.
Yeah, the Catbird. Zach Reeder's airplane. That one's awesome. Yeah, I always go look at every airplane, and there's so many cool tricks or cool features that every airplane has, and the Catbird is definitely one of those that's got some cool features.
Yeah, didn't Dick Rutan, he set a bunch of records in that, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah. I think it was a couple years at the Mojave flying that they went and did a really, wasn't it like the 400 kilometer or 1,000 kilometer? It was something crazy. He was up there for 9 hours. But he set an amazing record.
Yeah. Just getting the last of the focus stuff set up here on the camera, which can sometimes be a bit of a pain. There we go.
That means that it was all known. It was all.
We're not going to say scripted, but it's scripted.
It's scripted, yes. And so this year, it's truly flat-out racing. This is FAA approved, Federal Aviation Administration approved. We've got an air race boss here, and he's going to be.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, to get around that course, and it's the only place, like you said, outside of Reno, and Reno ended last year. So this year, there have been no other.
Cool.
Races. This is the.
And I think we got focus now. All right, good.
In the state of New Mexico.
All right, so we got about 34 people here in chat saying hi. Stream's brought to you by Red Bull. I wish. It's brought to you only because that's what I'm drinking right now. They should be sponsoring all of us.
I know. Got to get that morning shot of caffeine.
Exactly.
All right, perfect. Looks like the commercial flight is done and out of the way, and we can get ready to go here.
Yeah. Because this is still an operating airport.
New Mexico had it in the hall of air racing, basically, because what was the Reno air races and Roswell air bases next year. And that's why this is so important about Cruces is this is the only place to shoot. And that's what makes us so excited. How do you hear the Las Cruces Aerospace Expo?
Yeah, for me it's a bit of a welcome home. I used to live, I was stationed in San Airport, Tracy Clovis. And we are so happy to be back in New Mexico. As we walk around and look at the van, Spaceport America, that's just up the street. We have Roswell with the air racing coming up next year. We've got Las Cruces with the Air and Space Expo coming up next year. And in Albuquerque, there are so many companies
There we go. Now I got zoom. Cool. Takes a long time to get this whole setup up and running. But, yeah, it's pretty amazing what Las Cruces has put on here.
Yeah, the volunteers here, the city, they've all been so helpful getting all this off the ground. Our demo that we did last year went great. We came out here in May for pylon race training, was what we did. So we had a ton of fun at that, and just, the community's great. The hospitality we've got here, it's been fantastic for all the help. The FBOs have been a huge help, for briefing rooms, for fuel, for maintenance, anything we need like that. If somebody needs a hangar overnight, they've got plenty of hangar space. They've just been amazing hosts to have us help us out. So it's been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we who was it? There was it a senator that was giving a talk here the other day about it? And
yeah, so Senator Bill Souls has been great. He owns an RV. He's got on display down there. Great guy, loves aviation, loves what we're trying to do. It's been a huge help getting this done. Been able to really get us involved in the community and involved in the state as they try to bring more tourism here and show how magnificent New Mexico can be.
Yeah. It was where I come from, up in Canada. We have it's effectively the same thing as a senator, and he's been getting involved. He's a pilot as well, hangers up with us, and it's incredible the difference between an area that has like a senator or some politician who's actually in aviation versus not. The community just starts driving more towards aviation. Things start really growing. Whereas if it's not, it's a lot harder to get things going.
It does, yeah. It helps to have representatives to help you get the mission accomplished. So yeah, it's something new, and we've had a lot of honor roll kids coming around, so we have a lot of high school kids that are kind of brand ambassadors that are helping out this week, and it's been great to have those guys really getting the community involved and sharing aviation with people. And what I tell all the kids when we're walking around is aviation will open so many opportunities in your life. So just get involved in some way, somehow, whether that's being a pilot, whether that's maintenance, whether it's ATC, whether it's just ops, all the things that make it go. And I'm an engineer by training in my background, and there's a lot of fun design work and engines and technology and aerodynamics and all the things that go into it. So whatever aspect of life or whatever things you like to go do, aviation will provide that opportunity, and it's been an amazing ride for me. And I just want to give back and share that with everybody else here. So
Yep. Yeah, so you're an engineer. You can obviously tell because you chopping wings off and analyzing data all the time.
Yep.
It's I'm always seeing you guys out there working on stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the first thing I do. Everybody's like, "How'd it run?" I'm like, "It's good." They're like, "What was this? What was that?" And I'm like, "You can never trust the driver, never trust the pilot. Like, let's download the data. Let's go look at the data, see what happened." Because it's so hard to remember all the different parameters. You might remember something got hot, or it was running good, but you really got to go back and analyze the data. So yeah, that's a big part of it. I dine on avionics screen. I record data at 16 hertz, so we can go back and we can see, what was it doing going around the course, so we can plot our whole course, see how close we get. My buddy Sebastian Strauss does our data analysis, and he'd be like, "Andy, you were 20 feet from the pylon on this one and 30 feet on this one. You tighten up your line a little bit." So, going through all that stuff's fun, and then looking at the engine. What did the engine do? We're basically a liquid-cooled engine at this point with the amount of spray bar water we use. So, which cylinders were hot? Do we need to adjust spray bars? Do we need to change the airflow and see what all that looks like? So, yeah, data. It's all about trying to figure out what happened and what to change on the next race.
Yeah, I see you guys putting. You made a social media post where you're putting ADI fluid in the wings there. I'm like, How much of that are you going to use? Probably all of it.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, so a big part of it, is still that idea from the Unlimited. So, as we added more and more power, we needed more and more cooling. And so I had a 10-gallon tank in the back, and then that started getting pretty limited. And we had these really fine-tuned nozzles, and at one point we're just like, we just need a lot of water to keep this thing cool. So it's like, well, I have a 30-gallon tank in the wing here. Let's just use that. So, and then it also simplified it too. So, before I would take off on the left and then race on the right, and we'd have race gas in that. And so it was more workload for me switching back and forth. So now we just put all the race gas in the right tank, water in the left tank, and then we don't have to worry about switching tanks.
Ah, that's clever.
Yep. And then it burns about the same rate. I got through about 15 gallons of gas in a race and about 15 to 20 gallons of water.
Jeez.
So Joe's flying pace for us. Here comes Colleen and her Lancer Legacy. Bajan's flying his Glass Air 3. He just got ported and polished engine in that thing. and he's running really nice. Here comes Chris McMillan in his beautiful F1 rocket. That rocket, some of those have Lycomines in it. That one's got a Continental 550. It's really nice. This is D Child. It's got a Glass Air 3. And then Bob Mills flying his Rocket 6, representing the Metal Mafia. Paul Downing's got his Lancer 360. And Sean Van Hatten flying Joe's Long Easy.
The only plane flying backwards here.
Yep, the backwards airplane. There he goes. And then here comes Skylar Piper in his RV8. It was fun watching those guys yesterday. I think Sean actually behind Skylar. The finish yesterday was awesome. As the last lapped, there was 5 airplanes coming by home pylon and for an amazing finish. And the layout of the course is great out here. We have tons of room. We're able to actually have 5 airplanes come through the finish and not be pushing the show line. So really liking the layout of the new race track here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I got a good chance to see see what the back of the course looked like when I was doing some graphics for it, and it's like there's nothing out there, which means there's going to be no houses and stuff in the way. And
no, it's wide open. We actually everything the airport property is adjacent to all the BLM land, so we actually like the way we place the pylons are all on airport property or private property, and then nothing outside of that can ever get developed. So it's a perfect location. So as everybody's joining up there in the echelon, Joe Carraggio is leading them. He's flying double duty. He's going to lead this flight, and then he'll race in the silver for the next heat. But getting everybody joined up out there, and like the view as everybody's joining up, it's like almost the same as Stead. Like it's kind of the same mountain range behind there, and it just feels at home. It's great.
Very, very similar. Yeah, there's no P-Vine, so we can't say, oh, they're behind P-Vine.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, that makes it really nice. Yeah, not having to go radio silence and not having to be 50 feet off the ground as we go around P-Vine back there. And yeah, it's a lot easier coming around and coming down the chute, not having to go around the mountain.
Yeah, I got a chance to go up on the top of P-Vine there last year. I was just looking for good vantage points for video, and that's a tall mountain.
Yeah, there's not a lot of landing spots. So yeah, whenever we'd go around there and brief that, it was just like, all right, if you have an issue, you're going to do a right turn, go try to land on the interstate. So that was our out, but not a lot of options around P-Vine.
Yeah. There does seem to be a lot of decent options around here, as long as you're willing to, hit the sagebrush.
Yeah, the sagebrush actually, once you get out there and go in it, the sagebrush isn't very forgiving. So I wouldn't want to be off field if I had to land out here.
Yeah, but of course we got the 3 runways out here, so and enough speed to hopefully make it back.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing we really like about the layout of this course is the oval that we experienced at Stead. It was kind of north-south, and this oval is turned east-west. And so with that, what we called the Valley of Speed at Stead is really in front of the crowd here. So we really get to drop down and go fast right in front of the crowd. We're not putting any energy towards the crowd. And then a big part of it is all the runways. So 826, same that we had at Stead. Everybody used to go to 1-4 for emergencies at Stead, and now we have 1-2, which it's also easy to get to. The way the oval's laid out, it's almost easier to get to 1-2 than it was to get to 1-4. So really like the layout of that. And then this also has runway 422 that you can land on. And that one, it's a closed runway most of the year, but it's good enough that we can land on in emergency. So having that extra runway makes all the difference. And it really just from a safety perspective, you can't beat it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a seat there if you want it, just in the far side there. That circle right there, yep. You want to grab that, and then 2 fingers on either side, and you pretty much just pull. Magic. There you go. Other way up. Actually, probably doesn't matter, but there you go.
Try to stay out of the shot coming down the chute.
Or you could, I suppose, use the other one, because I have to stand up for the, but whichever.
Yeah, once they go by, I'll stand back up.
Yeah. All right, get rid of some overlays here so people can see.
Yeah, so for the bronze and medallion and silver classes, we do 1 lap on the 8-mile course, and then we'll transition to the 6-mile course. And really that's just based on speed, we try to keep all the lap times where you're coming by the crowd every minute. Gotcha. But this spring we got all 3 courses approved, so we have an 8, a 6, and a 4-mile course. The guys that flew the 4-mile course said it was a ball. They really good turns, really tight right around the airport here. They had a ton of fun. So yeah, we can have all the different speed ranges. That's what we were talking about, the RV guys coming out to race. Love to see more of those guys come out here and just go turn and burn on the 4-mile course and just have some great racing and really see what they can do. The RV product's so amazing, and there's so many of them out there. We got to get those guys involved and get them to come out here and race more. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I love those little RVs. They're great little planes, and anyone could basically build them in their own house. Yep. You don't need a lot of extra skill.
All right, they're coming down the bottom of the chute here. They're going to be aiming for about 5,000 feet when he releases them at the end of the runway. Here they go. So Joe's pulling up. Looks like Colleen's got a pretty nice lead going around the guide pylon there.
They're all still bunched up out there.
Yeah, good close racing out there.
Looks like the race is probably going to be looks for 2nd and 3rd.
Yep. Looks like Bajan and Chris are going to be battling. So what's cool about, in the sport class, we don't really have any rules. It's kind of run what you brung. And so it's kind of fun to see the fixed gear airplanes right next to it, retractable gear airplanes, 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, all the different things. There's the best part about it is there's no way to cheat. So it's just how fast can you go with what you brought. But even with that, you can have totally different concepts and everybody ends up at a very similar speed. All right, here they come down the long straightaway here in front of the crowd. Looks like Colleen's got a really nice lead. I think Chris got him on the inside. So Chris is inside of Bajan. Bajan's going to try to work the angles. Oh, he's got a little lead, but I don't know if he can hold it through the turn. We'll see what he can do. Bob Mills is behind him, trying to hold off D. Child.
Got 2 really good little races here going on.
Paul Downing trying to chase down those big 6-cylinder engines in his 4-banger. There comes Sean and Skyler getting close, going to battle it out here. Skyler looks like he's catching him a little bit.
Even though they're at the tail end of the pack, they will be racing each other. They are not giving each other any leeway. They'll be racing the whole race.
And no matter how close we are in racing, when it comes to being friends and family,
So now they're on the second lap. They're going to transition to that 6-mile course. So as they come over the power line back there, then they'll parallel those power lines, and then they'll turn and come into the 6-mile course.
Now, how difficult is it up there to see the actual pylons when you're flying by?
So the pylon visibility actually is great. They've got a tower out there, a couple cars. It's pretty similar to Reno where, there's a bunch of people gathered. You can usually see where they're at. And then we have lighted pylons, so outer 5, 7, and the guide pylon are lit, so you can see them really easy. That makes a big difference. All right, coming around. Colleen's starting to stretch the lead out. Looks like Chris McMullen's still fighting off Bajan. So you see how Bajan's trying to get a little altitude? He's going to keep working that angle and working that up a little higher, and then if he can still have that much altitude at the end, he'll be able to push down and get a couple of plane lengths out of it. Actually, I think that's D in second, not Bajan. I think Bajan's back there with Bob, so I think D. Child's actually in third, trying to work the angle on Chris.
Just hanging on there, isn't
Yeah, he's working it. He's trying to work the angle, keep that altitude. You don't want to give up that altitude till the very, very end. So Dee's airplane name is great. It's called Mist Tuesday. And the joke for all the builders out there is everybody says, when's it going to be done? When's it going to be done? Everybody always says, oh, on Tuesday. So nobody ever says what Tuesday it's going to fly, but it always takes longer than you expect. So he appropriately named his Mist Tuesday.
I love that.
All right, Colleen's holding the lead now.
So these all going to make it.
So yesterday that made for some great racing when Kevin was able to switch and come up and actually pass a few more people in the silver. So made for some really good racing yesterday. Oh, look at that. Coming back around. Bajan is now getting past Bob. Ooh, look at that. Got the pass done.
Can he hold it? So looking right now at the race between, looks like 4th and 5th.
Yep. Man, Bajan just like zoomed out. Another cool creative airplane is Bob Mills' airplane there. So it's actually got it's a Rocket 6. So it started out as an RV6. They put a 6-cylinder on it, and then they spent a couple years making a composite wing for that thing. So it's got this beautiful composite wing. Added some good speed to it, and looks really nice. They did a ton of work to develop that, and it turned out really nice. All right, you see D trying to keep that altitude, keep working the angles. It looks like he's slipping back just a little bit, coming around the 6th pylon. Yeah, they're staying really close, come by home pylon there. So you see how he's kind of leveling out? He needs to keep that altitude, so he's got it for the last lap. Chris is flying a really nice, consistent line that makes it easy to fly wing. Something we really emphasize when we're training is we'll do a lot of this at pylon school and really just practice working that angle, staying in that optimum passing position. So one of the rules is you have to pass on the outside. You know, Rubin's not racing in airplanes like most motorsports. So we practiced a lot of that really good formation flying, making sure you can be comfortable flying on the wing, flying 50 feet off the ground, and execute a safe pass. As you're coming past them, usually you'll announce, 304s on your right, and just make sure that you're communicating that when you're clear and extending, then they'll call you clear. So we really try to keep it safe, really try to keep it predictable. We're out here having a ton of fun with our airplanes, and it's all about safety and following the procedures.
So you guys do a lot of radio comms then during the races, eh?
Yep, we do. Yep. Yeah, just make sure everybody is, aware of what's going on. You don't want to have any surprises up there, and so it's very very structured. It is a race at the end of the day, but we call it uncooperative formation at times. But it's all very structured of what you can and can't do, and keeping it safe, and just having so much trust in the people you fly with to be able to fly that close and that tight.
Yeah, I know Formula One, they have a whole lot. Some of those guys go even Nordo during the races, which is a little weird to me, but he's keeping some altitude this time. Not a lot, though.
Yeah, not a lot. He's hanging right on his wing. We'll see what happens. They're going to come by some lap traffic here with Skylar and Sean, so they're going to have to step up their line a little bit. We'll see if D can keep it really tight, not lose any on that. Yeah, so you can see there, D went a little wide, coming around 3, probably anticipating that lap traffic.
And there. It looks like the Long Easy.
Yep, going past the Long Easy, and Sean and Skylar. Yeah, so see, D's got a lot of altitude now, so he's going to have to really try to work those angles to keep it tight.
Now, if he's not on the wing, that does mean he can keep it tighter, which is in some ways a benefit. But
yeah, you got to put him right at the bottom. You got to keep him in sight, so you got to put him right at the top of your canopy.
These pilots have to go. You can't just come out and say, hey, I've got a fast plane, I'm going to race.
All right, there's the white flag. We got 1 to go. Let's see what D can do on this last lap here. Can he work the angles?
they
Want to stay tight. Keep stacking high. So see, he's flying a little bigger course, getting a little wide there, but he's got lots of altitude. That's what you want.
So we're watching out to see if he'll keep that altitude, and then basically nose down at the end and just try to see if he can just burn it.
Yeah, we
off.
got this really long straightaway here. We'll see what he can do. See if he's got a little less drag without that gear hanging down. We'll see what he can do. There you go. He's working the angle, staying high. Save that altitude for that last little straightaway. This is like the most fun here. You got last lap, last corner, trying to work that angle. Keep it as tight as you can. There you go. Colleen with the win. Really nice. She's pulling up into cool down. Here they come. D's pushing. Oh, man. I don't think he got it. Nope.
Nope, he did not.
Man, Chris holding on. That looked great. There's Bajan.
This will be our lap traffic back here.
Yep. Here comes Bob coming past Sean. Paul Downing coming up, and Skylar Piper tailing Charlie today.
That was a good race.
That was a great race. So now we'll go check in with the pylon judges, make sure there was no cuts. And the way the cuts work, if you do get a little tight on a pylon, it's a 2-second penalty times the number of laps. So if you do cut a pylon, it's a 12-second penalty. So it'll take your speed down about 20 miles an hour on average. So it hurts you, but makes for some good dynamic for the next lineup and see what we can do.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, appreciate you doing this, Brian. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
talk
coming
to you
over
soon.
and
Yeah.
saying hi. And
Yep. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. All right. So that was a great little first race. We'll move one of these other cameras over here so we can see them coming back in. There we go. That looks a little better. Cool. Just slowed down to ludicrous speed. This is not Sport Gold yet. No, this is that was the Sport Silver, or sorry, Bronze. Not even silver yet. We're bronze. Camera needs glasses. Hopefully I was able to get enough focus there on most of the stuff. Colleen Sterling has an interesting bio. Oh. Okay, so let's go check our schedule here. schedule should be pretty much the same as most days. So, bronze race started 16 minutes ago. That sounds about right. And now the silver race we've been seeing has been moved up a little bit, so they've been kind of splitting it amongst the performers, partially because some of the racers will move up, and they can't do back-to-back races. So, yeah, that was Andy giving most of the commentary there. So, Andy's obviously he's in first place right now, and yeah, he's first place and hoping to vie for. Hopefully he'll stay in first place. At least he hopes he does. Tom hopes to catch him. Looks like Tom is working on the plane. See if I can rope in another pilot here. All right, and of course YouTube's now badgering me, so I'm gonna have to put on an ad here quickly. But otherwise, it'll put it right in the middle of a race. I just know it. So. So Thomas, as you'll remember, is the guy who was commentating the gold yesterday. He's off in the timing trailer. They're doing returning all the timing information, tabulating results, talking to all the pylon judges, making sure everything is looking good out there, and then we'll have some official timings here very shortly. Tell the camera to stop recording in 4K right now. Just burning storage. So let's take another look at that course there. Let's go. I'll press this one. Course video. So this is the course that Andy was talking about, and where you come down the chute, down. This is kind of twisted, like moved almost kind of 90 degrees compared to what we had at Reno. But they come down the chute the same way, back over our right-hand shoulder, just like before. And as they turn around, they, so they go around. They aim for basically pylon 2 and then pylon 3, and then there's kind of it's a bit of a backstretch out along the back side of the course there. And once they get around to the far side, it ends up being a fairly wide turn. Now there's nothing out there, so there's no civilization they have to worry about. No, people out there usually. And around the backside of this course here, so around turn pylon 5 and 6, it's a big, wide, sweeping curve, kind of like you'd have at the top side of the Valley of Speed. And then, as Andy said, the Valley of Speed really, here at Las Cruces, is right in front of the show line. So the spectators get pretty much the best view. They get to see the highest speeds right in front of them. And as he also said, it means that they're not sending any energy towards the crowd. So one of the big issues at Reno was when they come down the Valley of Speed, that final turn is they're bleeding off a bunch of speed, and that means that if say a piece of cowling fell off or something, that it could potentially go towards the crowd. So they don't have that issue here at this course. So you see how the start finish line, or the finish line there, is right along that really thick black taxiway. And you see that purple line there? That's the, what do you call it? That's the inner course. So there's 3 courses, and that is the middle course, which is where our slower guys are this week. There isn't any medallion guys, and the medallion guys they're on called it the 4-mile course, and the 4-mile course is quite a bit shorter. But yeah, these 2 courses are fairly similar, except for obviously the middle one is a little bit shorter. So. And as Andy said, the second place sets the pace. I kind of like that phrase. So Andy's got a lot more to give, but he doesn't need to. So he's not going to burn out the engine. Can't wait for Roswell. Well, they're also doing Las Cruces next year as well. So if you're interested in sport class racing, this is a good place to come out and see sport class as well. And all the guys here, they're super nice and friendly. I hadn't spent a lot of time around the sport guys up until this year, and I got to say, being out here with sport class guys, they've all been incredibly welcoming and incredibly friendly. So absolutely nothing but good things to say about all of them. They also have, sometimes when you go to events and they've got kind of okay T-shirts and stuff. Well, here they've got some. They're selling some really nice T-shirts. They got this. It's kind of the skull pattern on them. I'll see if I can find somebody wearing one and maybe get them to model it for us. But they are really nice. And we have our T29 Texan 2. Reno 8 to 9 times. Yes, sports guys are always a hoot to watch. Yeah. They're basically pushing the limits of, well, I guess there is really no limits. It's just a matter of keep pushing. And I'm sure they'll get up to the speeds that the unlimited guys are doing at the top end. Already, Andy's pushing 400 miles an hour occasionally. Not every race, but significant number of races. They got good swag. Yes, they do. They have very good swag. Hey, Armin Addict. Hello. Yeah, we're dual streaming as well onto Twitch as well. I figured, you know what? All I do is change one line in the config file, and now we're streaming on both platforms. So, but yeah. Normally at events and stuff, I don't buy T-shirts because it's like, oh, it's got like a number on it and a picture of an airplane. But yeah, they got they're really cool design ones. The Formula One guys had some good ones there last year, the year before as well. That I really like their Just Winging It shirt, which is like a throwback to a classic T-shirt. Nice design. So it was like a classic surfboard T-shirt instead of using of wings. And, one of the people walk around with a Dale Earnhardt shirt. Who that is? To wear, really nice, and it's kind of fitting, and you don't have to be a race fan to know it. You just go, oh, that's a cool shirt. Oh, it's about air racing. Oh, I didn't know air racing happened. I can't tell you how many times I've been out talking to people at the airport or elsewhere and go, oh yeah, I'm going down to Reno, or I'm going down to Las Cruces, and they go, why are you going there? Well, I'm going for the air races. Bit choppy? Is it the wind that's choppy, or is it the stream that's choppy? It looks like it's a stream. Let me. And see if that's any better. So the big issue is we're pushing out through a Starlink, and the Starlink, oh, you know why? Someone just parked in front of my Starlink in a golf cart. And they're quite literally right next to it. So yeah, we're gonna be dropping packets like crazy. So give me a second. I'm gonna go see if I can figure out if I can fix that. So this Starlink, it's picking up a new satellite at like every minute or so, and if it if it can't see one because there's something in the way, because it is fairly high frequency. So I'm not sure whose this is, and I don't really want to move it for them. Hopefully they're going to move here shortly. Yeah, personal helicopter be choppy. Jeez. Can't track. It won't catch until it's too late. Yeah. Well, Starlink's actually really smart. It's able to pick up on several satellites, and it knows that this area is covered, this area isn't covered, and off it goes. So, Thomas. Sweet. Perfect. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
box anywhere and just like a very lightweight antenna with both sticky or something or dash. Named after the satellite, I'm assuming? Yeah, no worries. We've only got 3 races, 3 people, and we got number 2. Fair enough. I have 3 microphones too, so fair enough, thank you very much. Pretty good. Yeah, it's doing all right. Thousands or in total, a few thousand. Yeah, we had about 70 or 80 people watching most days. Okay. Right now, the stream numbers are a little bit down. I think we're just going to post a little bit. I'm just going to do a couple posts here on some of the social media and go like, hey, we got nice commentary today. So, where are you based at? I'm based in Edmonton. Oh. So, way up north. Yeah. It's a little close. Not too bad by airline.
Yesterday were actually 5. Oh. Because what happens is it's a human thing. So you come down and the lap counter goes 1, and what we should be saying is 0. Oh. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I gotcha.
So then he's like, all right, starting lap 6 or number 6, starting white flag. And I was like, no. So you have to do one of 2 things. You have to count 1 to 7. Which might make sense to people, or you have to actually start at 0 to 6. And so John, had a piece of paper and he was literally checking numbers off each lap, so he wouldn't forget. I saw a picture of Roswell of next to the airport. The water is up to the hoods of the cars.
Ooh, well, I'm going to see that tomorrow.
Oh, you're going up there? Yeah.
I'm going to go get some footage and stuff.
You're going to get some.
But of course,
if it's still flooded, you will have some fantastic footage.
Some nice underwater footage too. Yeah.
I think Tim is actually going out there on Monday, and I think they might fly the course. So don't quote me on that, but I would confirm, because if that's happening and you're there to catch it, that would be really cool.
So this is going to be up there tomorrow too. So talk to him Friday. That's what he said he was doing, and he just happened to be serendipitously going up there anyway. So I'm going to go out there early, bring my cameras, and then leave.
Cool. Oh.
Calling in that airplane.
Oh, Sean.
National Anthem flyover. Sam Griffin is the Turkish Thunder solo who's going to be flying for us today to kick off the show. Turkish Thunder is a group of pilots who fly these very aircraft. B-28 Trojans built in 1949. For the Model A. Built one of the first
All right. Let's get some air show.
right now, Turkish Thunder solo.
And cue the copyright music. Hopefully YouTube doesn't kill it. We'll see. So whereabouts is everyone in chat streaming in from? know we got a bunch of people from the U.S. Nova Scotia, Canadians. Don't worry, I'm Canadian too. Traveled all the way down here just for this, and it is worth it. I do remember you saying that yesterday. Don't steal your service elephant. Bit of an inside joke. On some of our streams, we have an AI that runs, and we have convinced the AI that Sean has a miniature service elephant that he brings on all flights. Roswell, New Mexico, yep. So this is not where Reno's going to be next year, or Rah-Rah next year. This is in Las Cruces, which is just up the road from tomorrow. Sport class is racing, but we're just watching some Airshow acts while we wait. That was Trojan Thunder. Makes sense. T29? T28 Trojan? Take a little bit of a look at some of the crowd here. Most of them are kind of behind the tents, but close enough. Oh, did I give you guys the wrong view? I did. Alright, sorry about that. T28, yep. Bring up the schedule. Oh, and thank you for gifting that subscription there, Sean, to Armin Addict. Now, schedule's kind of been a little bit up in the air over the past couple days, so. But the gold races tended to be on right on the money. Bronze guy, or sorry, the silver guys are all lining up right now. Ooh, Undaunted Airshow's cap, very nice. Boomers everywhere, good lord. Could hear them, couldn't see them. Sorry, I pressed 3 instead of 2, and 2 is where that was track. I literally tracked that entire flight, and you guys couldn't even see it. That's my bad. This is the problem with having 2 cameras, is you mess up from time to time. So we have all the planes over here staging, getting ready to start up here any moment. Steve, 2 awesome guys, yeah. I'm going to see if I can reestablish this connection and get a little. All right, our next airshow act is lining up.
National Stoll, yeah, Stoll is great. Wow, that was a precision maneuver there. Coming out of a loop like that directly into formation.
rejoin upside down in a loop. That's nuts. Think you can do, they're doing this in vans, RVs. Means you could do it too in your own home-built airplane. Very cool. They're doing one more pass for us. There we go. That might look a little better. So the Las Cruces people have been saying since I got here, this is the first sanctioned race. Cleveland closed down outside of Reno, so there's been some other little races here and there. Some of them unsanctioned, some of them are in other ways. But yeah, this is it's pretty big. It's pretty big. The wind is once again starting to pick up, as we remember from a few days ago. do some stuff.
Well, that's the beauty of aviation, is you can start in one thing and end in another. I know that very well Kirby, who flies in the number 2 plane for the research jet team, as we'll see later. He started flight as a cargo and charter pilot, went to college, and then became a fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force. He's been a commercial airline pilot, and now he flies as the Director Squadron Defense Contractor pilot, still flying fighter jets.
You have a can of Raid. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm basically pushing as much as I can out of a HD stream. Down through a Starlink that's barely able to handle it. I can always lower the bit rate too, and then the video quality suffers, but it's always doable. Will she be in the gold race? Oh, Thomas sent over some race data. Let's check.
Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Got, yeah. Just gonna load some other stuff. I got lots of microphones and stuff, so yeah, we'll be all right. Round two, yep. I think we also have James Webb coming over, so we're going to have a bunch of commentators. Yeah, I used your plane for the animation for showing up the course layout. So, well, I didn't get any data. I just kind of artist interpretation. I knew where the pylons were, and just like it's close enough. We got we got 2 mics. Unfortunately, this one's fairly short, but I don't think I have another XLR in there. So, 1 short, 1 long mic. give you that one, I guess, and then give James that one. That's the only only other XLR I've got. Otherwise, I'd chain them together and with. Yeah, that's all right. Turn that up. You want to say something? Say hi to the people.
Hello.
There we go. That works.
Just good. Check.
All good?
Ooh, maybe you're on the wrong channel. Let me see. Input. Center. All right, try that now.
Check. Can you hear me now?
I only hear you in my left ear.
There we go.
That is so weird. Well, I'm gonna try the other port. I'll get you on both. Otherwise, people will be hearing you on one side, but not the other. All right, want to try that now? Oh, you know what? I bet they're linked. I bet that's what it is. Yeah, there it is. There we go. All right, try that now.
Check. Silverglass taxiing out.
There we go.
All right.
Excellent.
Sweet. All right, now we actually have good audio.
Audio success.
All right, so we have Andy and we also have James Webb here.
Good to be back.
Welcome back.
Great to be here. Representing Sport 69. Starting number 4 in the goal today.
Yeah, you excited? Yesterday was such a good race.
I am.
I think today's going to be even better. I think with a little smoother wind out there, I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah, have you heard anyone on the course give a report as to what the bumps are like?
I haven't talked to those guys yet, no.
Yeah, it's looking smooth. I mean, this layer right there, definitely some different conditions than yesterday. It'll be fun to see Joe Carraggio and Tim Slater battle it out. Although I'm not sure Tim's going to be able to.
Yeah, I don't know if Tim's got enough in it today. Let's see if he turns the RPM up or tries to go a little faster.
Let's see what the good races are going to be. Kevin Eldridge taking Doug Glover. That'll be an.
Yeah, I think he was able to work around him yesterday, so we'll see what he can do today. So yeah, I think that'll be a good battle. And then D was able to get next to Chris in the last heat, and they're bumped up to the silver for this one. So we'll see if D can work his way past Chris again, or if he can hold him off. So
yeah, that'll be another great repeat of a race to watch. So
yeah,
another race within a race there.
But lots of glass airs in this one. Only more glass airs than lance airs in this one.
That is interesting, including one that I believe uses water.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
which we laugh because everything else is air cooled, but P-51 Mustang.
Yep,
it worked
great
on
on those.
That
yep.
airplane.
Yeah, my engine at Race Power is pretty much water cooled. I just throw it all away. I don't ever keep it. But yeah, it's amazing technology in that. So that water cooled engine, speaking of Kevin's engine, it's been in development for, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years. Andy Higgs developed that, and they've been doing so much work to try to get that technology there. So that's what's amazing about the sport classes. We're able to try new technologies, able to push things, see what's out there. And my background was engine development, so hats off to Andy and Kevin for getting that engine here, getting it out in airplanes. It's so much work to do that. So last year at Reno was the first year they finally got it and did a whole race. Huge accomplishment for those guys. But yeah, Kevin's been working on that package. I think he's on kind of Rev 2 or 3 of the cooling system on that, trying to work through what size radiator, what size fan he needs for ground ops and things like that, how the oil cooler interfaces with your water cooling. So yeah, huge amount of work, huge effort on that. And Kevin actually took that engine and put it in Jim Russ's old airplane. So Jim and Robbie Grove built an amazing airplane that's got the new gear system in it. Everybody complains about the glass air gear. We always give Tim crap for that, but Robbie and Jim put an amazing gear system in it, and Jeff actually put that same gear system in his airplane. Jeff Lavelle did, just to get it to work a little better.
The YouTube video of his Mayday, the gear was stressed a little bit on the landing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to have that confidence when you have it to land right now that gear is going to come down. So yeah, good job getting that thing working.
And not to really compare the work that we put in my airplane to some of the work that everyone puts in, but we started a project about 4 months ago to supercharge the airplane, Sport 69's Lancer Legacy, and just like everybody, we were compressed for time, compressed for money, but we got it done. And I know, you've been essential in making the fine-tuning of that, but yesterday we were able to put some water nozzles on a couple of the cylinders, and it moved some water around, and so we were able to run just under 41 inches of manifold pressure for the full race.
That's great.
And keep the engine cool, so we're super happy about that.
That's good. What compression ratio do you got in that engine?
We're at 8.7 to 1.
Okay, so stock compression.
Stock compression. The previous installation of the supercharger, a lot of the information on the technical details and what saved us a lot of time, because if this were a from scratch project, we wouldn't have been able to execute. But George Catalano, who's flying race 77, had a lot of experience with this particular supercharger installation.
And I think his had 10 to 1s in it. That was
and
it was
the biggest
it was
difference.
really challenging for him to keep that thing cool with 10 to 1 pistons. So
yeah, so he's a interestingly enough, what happened yesterday in the race is he was in front of me, not by a ton, but he had one pylon cut, so I'm starting.
So you get to start in front of him today. Oh, that'll be awesome. Yeah, that'll be a blast.
Exactly. So it's going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, they were working on their airplane this morning. They were in there making sure they turned the governor up a little bit. They had to take all the cowling off and stuff, and all that beautiful carbon fiber work that Andy Chiavetta did building 77. They were taking all that off there to adjust the governor, try to get a little more RPM. They wanted to make sure that he got by his old supercharger. It's like, you can't give your parts away and then get beat by him. Come on.
Was yesterday flying the tightest line I can to try to eke out that 300.
Yeah, just go fast.
So I think that speed is the goal here, so I'm going to fly my line, and if he manages to get around me, great, but he might not have the smash.
Yeah, we'll see.
What do you typically see in the mile per hour needed to get by someone at these speeds?
Yeah, so around the 300 mile an hour range, you need about 7 miles an hour of overtake to really complete a good clean pass. You're flying higher and wider lines, so that bigger geometry makes it a little harder to pass. So you need about 7 miles an hour to really cleanly execute a pass. So we'll see if George has that. If he gets a little more RPM out of that engine, he might have that, but we'll see what he can do.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yep, going to be some great racing.
Absolutely. Let's see. Any other interesting battles coming up here in silver? We talked about Kevin and Doug.
Yep. So lots of Lancers versus Glasser battles. We were talking about in the previous race is that, there's so many different recipes of what we do, whether it's turbocharged, supercharged, some of the... Nobody's running nitrous this year, but the nitrous stuff, 6-cylinder versus 4-cylinder, Lancer versus Glasser, fixed gear versus retractable gear, and a lot of guys will end up at the same speed, totally different recipes of how they get there, and great racing. The sport classes run what you brung, and we don't really have any. We just keep it wide open of who can do what, and see how fast we can go.
Pace, Bob Mills leading the flight off, followed by Joe Coraggio with a super clean. I was looking at the bottom of his wing with no flap hinges. It's a slick airplane. And then we have Tim Slater coming by.
All right, Tim. Gear came up. Tim did a ton of work over the last month getting that gear system to work. He had one of the trunnions was loose, and he had to machine that, reflox it into the spar. Huge amount of work getting that thing to work, but glad to see it's here and everything's working good. There goes Kevin in the water-cooled engine.
There. So when I was racing last year, looks like
Chris McMillan in the rocket.
There.
Comes D Child in the glass air. And Bijan in his glass air. He just got some ported and polished cylinders from Lycon. Got 10-to-1 pistons in that thing, so he's ready to go chase him down, see if he can catch D.
I was saying in the previous iteration of my airplane, when it was normally aspirated, Colleen Sterling 52 and I were fairly close, but I still had her by a few miles an hour. I think I was running my engine about 150 RPM more than she was willing to run it, but we actually had some great racing and just for trade positions. And
nice. What do you think of the course? Like, what differences do you see from when we raced and what do you like about the course? What differences do you see?
Initially, there's that the nerves factor of, oh my gosh, I have to find a whole bunch of new pylons. And you might have mentioned it previously, but they put a light out there. In fact, we can see it clearly from here out there on 5.
Yep.
And that made a ton of difference. So the first few times around the course, finding the pylons and getting that confidence that you're not going to have a brain freeze and cut something, because initially I remember first time around the course turning and it just looked like a desert landscape.
Yep.
And at the speeds we're doing, it's tough to see. But in terms of actually flying the course, I know my line around 1, 2, 3 is not perfect, because normally I was coming tight to 1, looking at 3, coming wide on 2, and coming around, trying to minimize the speed loss in that turn. So the first couple turns first 180 degrees is definitely tighter, and same down at the other end of the course through 6 and 7. And I'm probably also losing some speed around 7 because the geometry there, I've
bleed off 10 knots, and you're like, oh no!
Around.
Yeah.
So it still needs some polishing there, but the course I really like. I can find the pylons. I love the speed around home.
Yep.
And the width of having, well, like yesterday in bronze, being able to bring five
wide, yeah. Oh, there's so
wide.
much room out there. It's great.
Really awesome.
Yeah, I love coming around when you come off of 6. It's kind of like 4 at Reno. When you come off of that, you start that descent, come by 7, and the valley of speed that we had in Reno is really like the home stretch here by Home Pylon in Las Cruces, and it makes for some great racing. Really easy to see everything. Nice wide spaces. Like you said, we're not getting pinched anywhere in the racetrack, so that makes it nice. And there's good visuals. I thought the same thing. When you come off of 5 out there, you aim for that. You got good visuals for that big spire out there, and then I kind of use that as kind of almost like a motocross analogy. You're riding the berm on that thing, and then that sets you up perfect for 6, and then you start dropping that altitude, come back down through the home stretch here. Makes for a really nice straightaway, and you can really get the speed building up.
It's funny thinking about racing again, because growing up I was, of course, into cars and playing Gran Turismo and wanted to do all that, and then caught the aviation bug and went in a different direction from watching racing. But it takes me back to we used to go up to Laguna Seca every year and watch the sport cars drive around the track.
Going through the corkscrew. And
yeah, back to finding the right line and finding that groove. And if you get that same flow feeling when you're on the course and things are really dialed in. Yesterday, when I was feeling good, feeling the pylons, feeling my position, the plane's just running perfectly, and like I talked about earlier, that nervousness, that stress, not only of the course and the airplane. We've talked about it in the past. You provided some great mentorship about the psychological aspect of the pre-race routine, and I carried that to here. Calm the nerves, get in the zone. Once that engine's going and you're focused, and then you're on the course in that flow state, and then come off the course, I'm not going to lie, that feeling did put a tear in my eye.
It's awesome. There's nothing better than it. Yeah, you get that release of, I get chills talking about it too. All the dopamine and all those amazing chemicals that come out of that. You get in the flow state. Everything's in slow motion, and it's just everybody says we're adrenaline junkies, but it's chasing that flow state where time stands still, and you are one with the machine. You are anticipating every turn, and you're looking so far ahead. At full tilt, we're doing 2 football fields a second, because it's hard to explain miles an hour to people. Everybody understands 100 miles an hour, but 300, 400, it's 2 football fields a second. So you have to be so far ahead of the airplane, so far ahead of the course, really predicting that. And then the course changes every time we fly, based on the winds, based on traffic, see what's going on out there. So you're always adjusting and doing that, but you have that mental program. You've visualized what the race is going to look like. You've watched watched video of it, you know what you're going to look for, and you've flown your airplane enough where you know what the airplane is going to do. So yeah, it's one of the best things to do is when everything's working and it happens. It's magical.
See if we have eyes on our silver flight yet.
Yeah, they just headed over our shoulders here. Yeah, they're right over here. Just
Coming around. Yeah, we were talking about the previous one. It's really nice on the coming around the backside, and 90 degrees of the chute is you can still see the runway and everything. You're not trying to go around P-Vine and
You're not getting beat
you're
up.
not getting beat on P-Vine. Yeah, P-Vine was always so bumpy, and we were always so close to it because we'd be crunched for time trying to get back, and yeah, it always made it exciting. But this is a really nice entry to the course. Lots of options out there and good landmarks. We're getting everything lined up. There's an old World War II bombing area out here that we kind of use as a target at the end of the runway, and they got a really nice guide pylon lit up for guiding us down the chute.
Yeah, yesterday was my first start here in Gold, and the more races you fly, the more your situational awareness goes up. So I was definitely focused on 77 next to me, and that first turn in where, especially if that turn in is aggressive and it adds some spacing there, George definitely checked that turn a little bit on me, and it's time to go. But increasing that essay of planning where that turn in is can definitely reduce the spacing there.
Yeah, we call that the Lee Bill flick. When you just kind of wait for it and then go.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, Tom and you, I think, had a pretty nice smooth roll. But yeah, George checked it. All right, here they come.
All right, Bob's got the smoke on. Got the pace plane coming down. Looks like a nice liner brush formation. But John's got a really nice angle on the outside, so he doesn't have to turn at all. See if he can regain some of that.
A beautiful lineup. Is Bijan cheating out in front there a little bit?
It's like a really nice lineup.
Beautiful.
Bam.
That is perfect. He's right on the money. Everyone in the right spot. And there goes Bob off. There goes Kevin High.
Look at Joe just extending that lead out. Man. So Joe has been working on that plane a ton this year. Him and Dave Anders built this beautiful tuned induction system for a 550. They already have a tuned induction from the factory, but they took it to a whole new level where they can actually adjust the runner length based on what RPM they run. And they built a big plenum in, cleaned up the top of the engine. Ton of cooling drag got eliminated. They laid the oil cooler back, built a really nice plenum and all that, and it's paying dividends now. His airplane has been running really cool all week, and you can see out here it's even running fast.
So it looked like 7. Kevin Eldridge was high on that initial turn in there, and I thought I heard on the radio Colleen call him clear. So we'll see what the lineup is coming by.
Joe's out front. Looks like Tim's in second. Doug Glover and Kevin Jason Glover down. Colleen working right around Chris McMullen, D. Child, and Dijon Elect.
It'll be fun to see Colleen try to get around Chris here. She should have the speed advantage. The question is she taking advantage of the geometry in order to accelerate that pass? In fact, you could see it on the back side as that slick airplane versus the fixed gear rocket of Chris McMillan. She's moving forwards, but Chris knows how to fly a tight line, and I am intimately familiar with that from last year, trying to hold him off. He actually passed me in the last race. So,
oh man, yeah, it's a beautiful rocket. They did an amazing job on their install on that. It's got a 550 Continental on that thing, and runs really nice. Here comes Joe, coming wings level, coming right down in front of the crowd.
Tim doing his best to close the gap, but like you said, I don't think he has the speed today.
No.
And there's a pretty good speed differential between him and Doug. So we've got Doug Glover and 45 coming by home, and it looks like Kevin Eldridge is pulling off. So perhaps something going on with that water-cooled engine we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it might just have something he doesn't like. It's not trailing any smoke or anything. It's probably just something didn't quite look right, so he's just going to go check it out up high and set it down here low.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe's really stretched out that lead. Like you were saying, the no flap hinges on there. They went up to Innovative Wing up in Canada, and Shane Daly's shop modified that flap cone with the it's got a track in it, so there's no flap hinges like the normal Fowler flaps, but where my plane does have his piano hinge, these actually do extend out and then come down. So really nice system that Shane Daly did up there. He also built that turbine legacy that was at Oshkosh. Really nice builder. Yeah, Joe's really stretching it out. Tim is not going to be happy.
But he's having fun out there. He's he's not having to worry about the people around him, behind him, and he's figuring out this course, and this is all going into the archives for the future, because he can use this time to work on his line and to really memorize where the fast points on the course are and where he can take advantage. And here we have Colleen Sterling and Chris McMillan coming by. Colleen is next to Chris, but she's flying, as you can see, a wider line. And as they roll into that turn, as wide as she is, that speed advantage she has just went right away. So, interesting watching her trying to get by.
Yeah, Chris had a perfect line around that. Just waited for it, and then he turned, like you said,
Yeah.
lost it. But
And once
a
again,
lot of speed. Here she comes.
yeah, you can see that. So it's definitely interesting watching the two of them battle it out there. And Chris knows she's right there for sure, and he's doing everything to hold her off. And right when she gets close, they come up on another pylon, and the angles are just not working out. But I do think she has a speed advantage. She's probably going to get him. And it looks like that just happened. Colleen Sterling passing Chris McMillan out there on pylon 5. But Chris still working the angles there. Again, flying that real tight line. So we'll see what the spacing is as they come by. Doug Glover coming by, running his own race as well.
Oh man, Chris is holding on to it. Where did Colleen go?
What happened to Colleen? I think she somehow ended up behind Dijon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was a missed turn that may have sent her way wide, but she lost quite a few positions there.
Kevin's rolling out. Looks like he's all good. Probably just had a temperature issue he didn't want it to mess with up in the air.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what maybe Colleen was getting warm on her engine too and had to back the power down a little bit.
It's certainly possible. Joe just looking beautiful and enjoying the sights coming by home. Probably doing right at that point, probably 295 miles an hour, maybe even hitting 300 there with the wind.
Tim's glass there sounds really nice coming by.
Yeah.
got a three-way battle now. So he's gonna take another run at Chris. Can D catch up to him? He had a really good race with him in the last one. They were neck and neck the whole time. So we'll see if D can catch up. And
five airplanes pretty close to each other. A great race, and as we anticipated, D Child pretty close to McMillan there, but as we were seeing, he is flying a great line. I don't believe he has the smash to get past Chris.
They got one more lap. I don't know if they're gonna be able to catch him. That's a long way to make up.
The question is, Colleen, is she going to be able to at least pass Bijan? But once again, I think the spacing's probably too much there. And whatever the mistake was, or the engine issue was that brought her back, I'm sure she's going to be disappointed in that result. But right now we're watching D Child and Chris McMillan. D's definitely going to give it everything he has here.
Is Silver using the long or the shorter course?
Showing Tim coming around. Oh, he's hanging. He's got some more altitude than he had last race. Maybe he's going to hang on to it.
Good. Two races.
Great stack.
That is a great
altitude.
stack, yeah. He's gonna. But there's that sharp turn there where everything is so close. Really a close race there. Yeah.
Hit him at the last bit.
And it looks like
All right. So, tell me. All right. Tell me if that looks any better, and if it's working out any better. Let's drop this volume down. This volume down.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right.
much static. Shouldn't be any static. There's going to be wind noise though, which we can't really do much of. Let's turn off our Wi-Fi here. So the audio's coming through here fine. Hear me there? Oh, good lord. Wrong button. Still getting a bunch of nonsense here on the audio channels. Yeah, it could be that. I'm definitely getting static though. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's like the outputs on the... So I do have an alternative. I have a... Just rewiring some stuff. Right, 1 second guys here.